When I was growing up, my favorite thing to do was go to sleepovers. We would do a lot of fun things, like watch movies, paint our nails, and bake chocolate chip cookies. The cookies were probably my favorite part. Even if we ended up just eating the dough, they were always so good. This brings me to the topic of my speech, chocolate chip cookies. I think most people should know how to bake chocolate chip cookies because the base can be used for a lot of different other types of cookies. Right now, we're in the middle of a pandemic, which means social distancing and all of us staying inside, so we need lots of fun and easy things to do. According to Business Insider, published on March 16, 2013, there are 7 billion chocolate chip cookies eaten in the United States every year, with about 50% of those being homemade cookies. Chocolate chip cookies are one of the best cookies, and everyone should know how to make them with the perfect recipe. I will be telling you the history of chocolate chip cookies, what they're like today, and how to make the perfect chocolate chip cookie. The history of chocolate chip cookies. Chocolate chip cookies were invented 82 years ago by Ruth Wakefield at the Toll House restaurant in Massachusetts. There are a lot of stories about how the cookies were invented, but the most likely explanation is that Ruth, whose restaurant was famed for her desserts, probably spent a long time developing the recipe. The cookies were created as an accompaniment to ice cream and gained fame when Betty Crocker mentioned them on her radio show sometime around 1938. According to The New Yorker, published on December 19, 2013, Ruth was offered $1 by Nestle for the rights to the cookies and the name Toll House on March 20th, 1939. She later said that she never got the dollar. Now that you know a little bit of the history, let's see how they've changed today. While chocolate chip cookies haven't changed very much at their very core, you can now make many different variations based on your dietary and general preferences. I personally can't have gluten, so I make gluten-free chocolate chip cookies. I've also seen vegan, nut-free, vegetarian, and sugar-free. Many people will change the recipe with add-ins like nuts or oats, and while some people may feel that this tarnishes the cookie or makes them not a true chocolate chip cookie, I think that it shows how we've put our spin on a classic. According to the Los Angeles Times on October 1st, 2019, chocolate chip cookie trends are a reflection of our times in America, which is why I'm going to tell you the perfect basic recipe for chocolate chip cookies. How to make the perfect chocolate chip cookie. You will need 1.5 cups, 200 grams of all-purpose flour, 3/4 of a teaspoon, 4 grams of kosher salt, 3/4 of a teaspoon, 4 grams of baking soda, 3/4 of a cup or 1.5 sticks or 169 grams of butter, 1 cup, 200 grams of packed brown sugar, 1/4 of a cup, 50 grams of granulated white sugar, whole egg, 2 egg yolks, 2 teaspoons of vanilla extract, and 6 ounces or 170 grams of semi-sweet chocolate chips. Start by preheating your oven to 375 degrees or 190 degrees Celsius. Then you're going to want to whisk 1.5 cups, 200 grams of all-purpose baking flour, 3/4 of a teaspoon, 4 grams of kosher salt, and 3/4 of a teaspoon, 4 grams of baking soda. Next, you're going to want to melt 1/2 cup, 1 stick, or 113 grams of butter until the butter foams and then browns. All of this should take around 4 minutes to do. Once it's done, remove from the heat and slowly add the other 1/4 of a cup of butter, 1/2 a stick, or 56 grams, until it's all fully melted. Then, whisk in 1 cup or 200 grams of packed brown sugar, then 1/4 of a cup, 50 grams of granulated white sugar, until fully combined with no lumps. Whisk in 1 whole egg, 2 egg yolks, and 2 teaspoons of vanilla extract. Slowly fold in the dry ingredients until there are no dry spots. Then you want to fold in 6 ounces or 170 grams of semi-sweet chocolate chips. Scoop 3 tablespoon balls onto 2 parchment-lined baking sheets, making sure that they are evenly spread out, and bake for 8 to 10 minutes, rotating to make sure they brown evenly. Let cool on the baking sheet. That's it, they're done! According to Bon Appetit, in April of 2019, the addition of the brown butter really puts these cookies over the top. It makes them crispy-edged, chewy-centered, yet still rooted in classic cookie flavor. In the last few minutes, I've given you a history of chocolate chip cookies, I've told you about what they're like today, and I've given you the perfect recipe for them. Chocolate chip cookies are the best cookies, especially when you have the best recipe, and everyone should know how to make them. Chocolate chip cookies have always been a favorite of mine, and while I've been stuck inside recently, I've been making a lot of them, with this recipe too, and I don't think there's any other way to be social distancing.